By the time my daughter told me, "Mom, you don't need your passwords anymore. That's what you have us for," I realized I couldn't unlock a single part of my own life without my own children. My name is Linda. I'm 71 years old, and I live alone in a little stucco house on the edge of Phoenix, Arizona. On good days, I can still drive myself to church, bake a pan of brownies without burning them, and remember where I left my glasses without retracing my steps twice. I may be old, but I'm not helpless. That's why it stung so much the day I found out my name was on less and less of my own life. My husband, Frank, used to handle all the computer stuff. That's what we called it. Bills, taxes, passwords, the mysterious magic of online banking. Frank was the kind of man who kept every receipt in a shoebox and every password in a little blue notebook he hid in the top drawer of his dresser underneath his socks, as if the CIA were trying to hack our water bill. When he died 3 years ago, that notebook became my lifeline. I'd sit on the edge of the bed with my reading glasses sliding down my nose, flipping through his cramped handwriting. Electric, SRP, password, Eagles, 1975. Bank of America, online, password, Linda and Frank forever. I cried the first time I saw that one. Not because of the forever, but because the website told me the password was too weak and made me change it. The first few months alone were terrifying. Not the nights, exactly. The paperwork. If you've ever lost a spouse in this country, you know. Every day, a new envelope arrives saying, "We're so sorry for your loss. Please log into your account to update your information." It felt like the world was saying, "He's gone. Now you figure it out." My son, Jason, lives in Denver with his wife and 2 kids. My daughter, Emily, is here in Phoenix, about 20 minutes away, depending on traffic and how many people forget how to merge. They both wanted to help. I don't fault them for that. "Mom, you shouldn't be worrying about all this," Jason said over the phone one evening. "You've got enough on your plate. Let us take some of this off your shoulders." He said it in that gentle tone people use when they're trying to talk someone out of climbing onto the roof. "I can manage," I said, stubborn because stubborn is free and always in stock. "Your father showed me how to pay the bills. I write the check, I mail it. I've been doing it." "Checks?" Emily said when I told her. "Mom, nobody uses checks anymore. That's how people get scammed. We need to move you into the 21st century." I didn't realize that the 21st century, in their minds, meant moving me out of the driver's seat and into the back. The big shift started with my phone. It was a perfectly good little Android that Frank had bought me 2 years before he died. I could answer calls, send a text if I took my time, and look at pictures of my grandbabies. That's all I needed. "Mom, this thing is ancient," Emily said, picking it up one Sunday after church. "Look how slow it is. And you don't have any security on it. If someone got a hold of this, they'd have everything. Your bank, your email, all of it." "Well, I don't keep any of that on my phone," I said proudly. "I go to the bank in person, and I don't have email." She stared at me as if I'd told her I'd churn my own butter and light my house with candles. "You don't have email?" she repeated. "Nope," I said. "Everything important comes in the mail, on paper." She rubbed her forehead. "That's not safer, Mom," she said. "That's how people steal your identity. They just take it out of your mailbox. We need to modernize you a little." That week, she took a day off work and came over with a brand new smartphone still in the box. "Surprise," she said, setting it on my kitchen table like a newborn baby. "This is for you. It was on sale with my plan. I'll set everything up for you. You'll thank me later." I loved that she'd thought of me. I loved the idea that maybe I would be able to see pictures of my grandkids as soon as she sent them, not 3 days later when I remembered to turn on the old phone. I loved feeling included in their world. I didn't love what came next. For 3 hours, my kitchen table became mission control. Emily pulled my bills out of their neat little pile, opened envelopes, and typed information into apps faster than my eyes could follow. The bank, the electric company, the water, my prescription refills. Okay, she said finally, sliding the new phone toward me. You're all set. Everything's online now. All your accounts are connected. We've got Face ID, two-factor, fraud alerts, location sharing, the works. That sounds like a lot, I said, touching the smooth black screen with one finger. What's a factor? She laughed. It just means if someone tries to get into your stuff, your phone will know. I put all your usernames and passwords into a password manager. It's an app that keeps track of everything, and you only have to remember one password. See? She showed me a little blue icon and tapped it. A list of account names slid into view like a magic trick. It was impressive, like watching a good card shuffle. It also made my stomach flutter in a way I didn't understand. What's the password? I asked. She grinned. It's the same one you use for your garage keypad, she said. Easy for you to remember. I relaxed. That wasn't so bad then. I could remember that. Don't worry, Mom, she added. I wrote it down in my phone, too, just in case. I didn't see the problem with that. Not then. The next change was the bank. I'd always liked going in person. I knew the tellers by name. They knew me as the lady who still balances her checkbook. There's a comfort in sliding a piece of paper across a desk and seeing a human being stamp it. But Emily was insistent. Mom, with online banking, you can see everything right away, she said. If there's fraud, you'll catch it. Plus, driving all the way over there in this heat, it's ridiculous. We'll set it up once, and you'll never have to stand in line again. I found myself nodding. It did sound convenient. My knees weren't what they used to be. So she set up the app. The bank sent texts and codes and emails, and Emily handled them all. All I had to do, she said, was look at the pretty graphs now and then. It's all linked to my phone number, too, she explained, offhand, for security. In case you forget your password or something, they can contact me. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on everything. That sentence should have made me pause. Instead, I made us sandwiches. It wasn't just Emily. Jason got in on it from 800 miles away. Mom, I'm going to set up alerts on your accounts, he said. That way, if anything weird happens, I get a notification. You know how people target older widows. I'm not saying you're not careful, but they're slick, Mom. They'll tell you they're from the bank and ask you for codes. Don't ever give anyone a code. I won't, I promised. It's better if the codes come to me anyway, he said. You don't need to worry about all that. Slowly, bit by bit, "You don't need to worry about that" became the theme song of my life. At first, I was grateful. When my electric bill went up dramatically one month, Jason called me before I even opened the envelope. Don't freak out, he said. It's that heat wave. Everyone's bills went crazy. I already adjusted your budget, so it won't hit you so hard next month. When my credit card company mailed me a new card because of some data breach, Emily showed up with it already activated. They texted me, she said. I took care of it. You're fine. It felt nice, in a way, to be cared for like that. After a year of carrying everything alone after Frank died, there was a strange relief in letting someone else worry. But then the first crack appeared at the grocery store. I was at Fry's with a cart half full of the usual: bread, milk, bananas, chicken, a frozen lasagna for nights I didn't feel like cooking, and a small bouquet of flowers for myself, because if you want flowers regularly at my age, you learn to buy your own. I put everything on the belt, chatted with the teenage cashier about her sparkly nails, and slid my debit card into the machine. Declined. Try it again, I said, smiling, because machines make mistakes. Declined. Do you have another card, ma'am? The girl asked, her voice softening. A line was forming behind me. I could feel eyes on the back of my neck. I tried my credit card. Declined. My heart started pounding. I knew there was money in that account. I balanced my checkbook. I wasn't one of those people. Just hold these, I said, my voice smaller than I liked. I'll be right back. I stepped aside, hands shaking, and pulled out my phone. There was no number on the back of the card anymore, just a website and a suggestion to log into the app. I squinted at the screen, tapping the bank icon Emily had installed. It wanted a password. Then it wanted a code sent to your device. But the code wasn't coming to my phone. I called Emily. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey, Mom, what's up? I'm in a meeting," she whispered. "I'm at the store," I said. "My card isn't working. It says declined. The app wants a code, but it's not coming. I don't know what's." "Oh, yeah," she said, cutting me off. "Sorry, there was some weird charge last night, so Jason and I froze your cards until we could check it out. It was like some late-night Amazon thing. We didn't think you'd be shopping at midnight." "I couldn't sleep," I said, my cheeks burning. "So I bought a book, a paperback. It was on sale." "Oh," she said, and I heard the click in her voice as she revised her story. "Well, okay. Still, we just wanted to be safe. I'll unfreeze it now. Give it 5 minutes." "We?" I asked. "Who is we when it comes to my money?" "Me and Jason," she said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "We're on your accounts, remember? We're just trying to protect you, Mom. I'll call you later, okay? I really have to go." She hung up before I could say what I wanted to, which was, how did we get from helping with the app to freezing my cards without telling me? I went back to the register and tried again. This time it went through. I put the groceries in my trunk with shaking hands. Driving home, the desert looked different. The same brown, the same cacti reaching for a sky that hadn't changed, but I felt like the ground under my feet wasn't mine anymore. Things escalated after that. Little moments, small comments that, added up, painted an ugly picture. I tried to call my old friend Marlene one evening and realized her contact had disappeared from my phone. "Where did she go?" I asked Emily the next time she came over. "Oh, I cleaned up your contacts," she said. "You had a bunch of old poo-poos. Numbers in there. I deleted the ones you don't need. If she's important, just have her call you, and I'll save it again." "They were important to me," I said, but she was already talking about something else. "I went to refill a prescription and found my account had been moved to a mail order service. It's cheaper this way," Jason said when I called, panicked. "You don't have to drive to the pharmacy anymore. They deliver 3 months at a time." "What if it gets stolen off my porch?" I asked. "It won't," he said. "And if it does, we'll deal with it. This is better, Mom. You're always saying your knees hurt when you stand in line." I looked around my empty kitchen, wondering when I'd said that out loud. One afternoon, I sat down at my old desktop computer, determined to log into my email by myself. Emily had set it up for me months ago, but every time I tried to check it, something went wrong, and I'd end up handing her the phone so she could just do it. Not this time, I thought. The login page wanted a password. I typed the one I thought it was. Wrong. I tried another. Wrong again. Forgot password? The screen chirped cheerfully, like it was a game. I clicked it. It told me a reset link had been sent to my phone number ending in numbers I didn't recognize. That's when the first real chill went down my spine. Whose number was that? I called Jason. "Oh yeah," he said. "I changed the recovery number to mine. You weren't answering the codes half the time, and you kept getting locked out. This way, if anything happens, it comes to me." "So my email goes to you," I said slowly. "Only the codes," he said. "Not the actual messages. We're not spying on you, Mom. We're just trying to make sure you don't get stuck." But that was the thing. I already felt stuck. The breaking point came the day I tried to do something kind. A woman from my church, Betty, had her car break down. She's 82, still driving herself because there's nobody else to do it for her. The mechanic gave her a quote that made her hands shake. "I don't know what I'm going to do, Linda," she said after Bible study, her eyes filling. "I can't afford that, but I can't afford a new car either." I went home, made myself a cup of tea, and opened my banking app. I was nervous, but I could do this. I wanted to send her some money. Not a fortune, just enough to ease the panic in her voice. I tapped transfer. It asked how much. I typed in a number that wouldn't hurt me, but would help her. It asked for the account. I chose my checking. Then it asked for a verification code. I waited and waited. Nothing popped up on my phone. Instead, 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Emily. "Mom, what are you doing?" she asked, not even saying hello. "I'm sitting in my kitchen," I said slowly. "Why?" "I just got an alert," she said. "You're trying to transfer a big chunk of money. To who? What's going on?" "It's not a big chunk," I said. "It's my money, and her car broke down." Silence. Then a sharp exhale. "Mom, you can't do that," she said. "You don't know if she's really in need or if she's just bad with money. And what if it's a scam? Older people get used all the time. I'm not approving that." "Approving?" I repeated. "Since when do you have to approve what I do with my own money?" "Since you put us on your accounts," she snapped. "We're legally responsible if something happens. Jason and I have to think about your long-term care, not just every sob story you hear at church." "The sob story is my friend," I said, heat rising in my chest. "And you are not responsible for every choice I make. I am." "Mom, you're not thinking clearly," she said. "You're emotional. I get it. You just miss Dad, and you're trying to buy companionship or something. This is why older people shouldn't have access to large sums of money without safeguards. I'm going to decline this. We can revisit it when we sit down with the financial planner next month." I stood up so fast my chair scraped. "Emily Rose," I said, using her full name, the way I hadn't done since she was 17 and came home 3 hours after her curfew. "You listen to me. This is my money, the money your father and I earned, the money he wanted me to have so I wouldn't be a burden." "And I am trying to make sure of that," she said, "even if you don't appreciate it." She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, staring at my phone, breathing hard. My teacup rattled on the counter. A sentence floated through my head, something Frank had said after we updated our wills years ago. "If I go first," he'd said, "I trust you to handle everything. I know you'll do right by the kids, but this money, it's for you, Lynn, not for them. For you to live, for you to give, for you to decide." I had let that promise be quietly rewritten while I was too tired to read the fine print. It hit me then I didn't know the passwords to my own email, my own bank, my own phone backup. I couldn't log into a single account without one of my children. If I wanted to change something, they got the code. If I wanted to buy something unusual, they got a flag. If I wanted to do something they didn't approve of, they could simply not allow it. For my safety. The next morning, I put on my good slacks and my church blouse, the one without the coffee stain, and drove to the bank. The branch lobby smelled like it always had, a mix of carpet cleaner and cheap pens. A young man in a suit that didn't quite fit sat at the welcome desk. His name tag said Colin. "How can I help you today?" he asked with a perfected smile. "I'd like to talk to someone about my accounts," I said. "In private, please." He led me to a small glass-walled office where another young man sat behind a computer. This one's name was Matt. He looked about 12. "What can we do for you, Ms.?" he said. "Douglas," I said. "Linda Douglas." He pulled up my file. "Oh, sure, Ms. Douglas," he said, eyes flicking over the screen. "I see your son Jason and your daughter Emily are on your accounts as co-owners. We actually talked to them last month about updating your contact number." "I know," I said. "That's the problem." He blinked. "Oh," he said. "Is there an issue?" "Yes," I said. "The issue is that I can't get a code without my children seeing it. I can't move my money without my children approving it. I can't even send my friend a gift without triggering an alarm. I'd like to change that." He shifted in his chair. "Well, we recommend having trusted family on your accounts," he said carefully. "It helps prevent fraud, especially for, seniors." "That may be your recommendation," I said, but as far as I know, the law still says this is my money, and I would like to be the one who decides who has keys to it. He swallowed. I understand, he said. We can absolutely adjust the account structure, but I'll need your ID and, well, to be honest, it might be a little time-consuming. Difficult conversation with your family if they're used to having that access. I've had difficult conversations before, I said. I buried my husband. I can handle telling my grown children that their mother is still alive and in charge. He nodded, cheeks pink, and got to work. It took an hour. We removed Jason and Emily as co-owners and added them as trusted contacts instead. They would get notified if something truly suspicious happened, or if I didn't respond to the bank over a long period, but they would no longer be able to freeze my cards or block my transfers without me. We changed my primary phone number back to mine. We reset my passwords using a notebook that I carry in my purse now, not in someone else's cloud. With your permission, Matt said as we finished, I can put a note on your profile that says, customer is of sound mind and explicitly requests personal control of accounts. That way, if anyone questions it later, we have this documented. I stared at him. Is that a thing? I asked. You'd be surprised how many times adult children come in and try to move things without their parents really understanding, he said. Sometimes it's necessary. A lot of the time, it's not. Then, yes, I said, put that note in big letters. Walking out of the bank, the Arizona sun felt hotter than usual, but my steps felt lighter. The phone was harder. That night, I sat at my dining table with Emily on one side and Jason on speakerphone in the center, his voice booming out between the salt and pepper shakers. You did what? Jason said when I told them about the bank. I took my name back, I said simply. You are still on my emergency contact list, but you are no longer holding my wallet. That's irresponsible, he said. Mom, what if someone tricks you? What if you start sending money to everybody who cries in front of you? Then I will learn an expensive lesson, I said, like you did when you invested in that cryptocurrency nonsense and lost $5,000, remember? That's different, he muttered. It is, I agreed. I was 49 and working 2 jobs when you did that. Nobody rushed to the bank to put passwords on your accounts and tell you you weren't allowed to make your own mistakes. Emily crossed her arms. This isn't about control, Mom, she said. It's about safety. There are entire books written about elder financial abuse. We're trying to protect you. I appreciate the intention, I said. I really do. And after your father died, I leaned on you both so hard I can see why you thought I needed protecting from everything. But there's a difference between helping and taking over. Silence. I am not a child, I went on. I may call at odd hours and ask stupid questions about my phone. I may forget a password now and then. I may fall for a dumb ad once in a while. But my brain isn't gone. My judgment isn't gone. And even if it were fading, I would still deserve to be treated like a person. Not a problem. On the speakerphone, Jason sighed. Mom, we just don't want you to end up with nothing, he said, tired. We see so many stories. People wiped out by scammers. People losing their houses. We don't want to get that phone call from the bank saying you emptied your account for some fake charity. You won't, I said, because I have a real banker now that I actually know, and I have a therapist who keeps an eye on my thinking, and I have friends who will tell me if I start sounding confused. I have more Rafs now than just the 2 of you. Emily's eyes widened. You're in therapy? She asked. Yes, I said, every Wednesday at 2. It's been very helpful. You should try it sometime. They're very good at helping people see when their fear is strangling everyone around them. She flinched, just a little. That's not fair, she said. You have no idea what it's like watching your parents age. Every headline is about dementia and scams and long-term care. I lie awake at night worrying about how we're going to take care of you if something happens. We're not trying to steal from you, Mom. We're trying not to drown. Her voice cracked on that last word. Some of my anger softened. I hadn't thought much about their side of it. To me, they were just the ones with all the power, holding the keys to everything. I hadn't considered that power can feel like weight, too. I believe you, I said. I don't think you're trying to hurt me, but you are hurting me. When I stand at a grocery store and my card is declined because my children froze it without asking me, when I try to call an old friend and her number has been deleted because my daughter decided which people I need, when I try to send a friend a bit of help and my own child tells me I'm not allowed, that is not safety. That is erasure. Tears filled Emily's eyes. I didn't mean to erase you, she whispered. I just didn't want to lose you. You don't keep someone by locking them in a cage, I said gently. You keep them by walking beside them, even when they stumble. We ended the night without a pretty bow. No group hug, no soundtrack swelling in the background, just three people who loved each other, sitting in different kinds of fear. But over the next few weeks, something shifted. Jason called one day to ask, "Hey, Mom, would you be willing to forward me your monthly statements, just so I can keep an eye out for weird stuff? No changes, just eyes." That, I said, I can live with. Emily came over and, without being asked, wrote down my new passwords in a little notebook. "For you," she said, sliding it across the table. "Not for me. I'll only look if you ask me to." She paused, then added, "I'm sorry I talked to you like a child." "I'm sorry I made you into my only adult," I replied. We both laughed, and some of the tightness between us eased. I did, eventually, send Betty some money. I drove to the bank, filled out a cashier's check, and handed it to her myself. Her hands shook as she took it. "Linda," she said, tears in her eyes, "I don't know how to thank you." "You can drive me to the grocery store next time your car works," I said. "We'll call it even." If you're listening to this and you're around my age, maybe your children have already helped you with your phone. Maybe they've simplified your life so much you no longer know the password to anything. Maybe, like me, you felt that slow slide from "I appreciate the help" to "I can't do anything without asking." And if you're the child, maybe you're the one losing sleep over articles about elder abuse and long-term care costs. Maybe you watched your own parents or grandparents get taken advantage of, and you've sworn it won't happen on your watch. Here's what I've learned, sitting here in my little Arizona house with my own bank card back in my wallet and my own name on my accounts again. Help is a hand you offer, not a hand you close around someone's throat. It is loving to say, "Mom, let me sit with you while you pay your bills, just to make sure everything looks right." It is loving to say, "Dad, can I help you set up alerts so we both see if anything weird happens?" It is not loving to secretly change numbers, lock someone out, and then tell them it's for their own good. If you're the older one, don't wait as long as I did. Go to your bank in person. Make sure you know exactly who is on your accounts and what they can do. Learn as much as you can, even if it makes your head hurt. You don't have to become a computer whiz. You just have to be present in your own life. If you're the younger one, remember that your fear doesn't give you the right to take someone else's choices away. Frank once told me, "If I go first, I trust you to steer the ship, Lynn." For a while, I let our children take the wheel because I was too tired to stand. Now, I've learned I can still hold it, even with shaky hands, as long as I let others stand nearby. I don't want to die with a perfect credit score and a life I never got to drive. And neither, my friend, should you.